Hi, this video is about the cQ-DATR Topanga. DATR means directional ATR. Okay, this version consists of the directional ATR as the input, and then it's processed 3 different ways. This one, for example, is based on the absolute strength indicator. It isn't the absolute strength indicator. It produces results similar. And same thing with the Lehman trend. They're different, but they're close. But it does vary when you start changing the parameters. These parameters being as close as I could get to the current settings for like the absolute strength and Lehman trend and the vortex. You can select which output process you want to use right here. You can select the directional ATR. It has the close to close or the high-low or the high-low plus. You just play with them and see if which one works. The close to close seems to work pretty good. This depth it's part of the directional ATR, even though down here you have the depth parameter. It's really kind of like a smoothing, but it isn't. On some of them, it doesn't necessarily smooth it. It just stretches things out. Like in here on the absolute strength, there's some trade-off between the smoothing and using this depth indicator. This depth mode is using the linear weighted moving average with a period of 1. That's where this period, for example, will show up, even though it's listed in here. It's really part of this input. So that's where that 1 comes from. That this here is the absolute strength histogram, but this is just what people refer to it as. Period of 10, this is the current input type, which is for the close to close. This is the smoothing, 5, linear weighted moving average, and then the symmetry, the sim is a symmetry, which I'll show you what that does. And then the symmetry, I guess I'll show you what it does. Okay, currently we have the absolute strength indicator, and these are the settings, and the symmetry is 0. If you put the symmetry to 1, what it does, you'll see what it does. It's pretty symmetrical, wraps itself around the 0 line, and these do move. These sometimes forward, sometimes better, sometimes worse. We can make this 6 if you wanted. Get you some. It's asymmetrical, but usually the dots kind of stay in similar. They stay around the same place, but and you can also just have it. You can add a little. And it sometimes makes it easier to read, or it's less chaotic looking, if that matters. And we'll go to the Lehman trend, which is this one. Down here, these settings, we'll just see what it does. See, it's a bit different. They all have their own thing about them. And then we also have the vortex. And each one of these has its own symmetry and depth parameter. So, and then here you can change. I kind of like this one. Sometimes it looks kind of neat, but okay, here I added the baseline and some vertical lines to show where certain things line up. You could use this as an entry and this as an exit if you wanted. When you get into CHOP, you don't want to be using this. You're going to need something to keep you out of stuff like this. And I'll show you what the depth does. Here, we'll make it kind of a lot. This might be too much, probably. You can see that it removes a lot of the noise, but at the cost of getting in later. But that might be, the way to do it. Sometimes the baseline doesn't necessarily line up. You're getting in a little late, so you have to play with that. And the same thing with the Lehman trend. We'll try put a 5 there and see what it does. If you listen to this thing, you would get in down here at this one, maybe, and exit right at this area right here. So, whatever your system calls for, change the input type, high, low. These all give you different results. That's the indicator. This is where you can see all three of them together at the same time. This is the absolute value, this one, or absolute strength. This is a Lehman trend, and then this is the vortex. I think they're all they're pretty much at the default settings.